Hello everyone, in today's video I'll be taking a look at this Camduck wall outlet spy camera. Now full disclosure, I was provided this product by Camduck, but they told me that I could be completely honest with my review. Alright, so inside the box you get your user manual, the camera itself, and hidden in the bottom you get a screw and a pry tool, and a micro SD card to USB adapter. On first impression, this camera looks pretty good. The lens is really well hidden in there. If I zoom in a bit, it's really hard to notice, especially if you're not trying to find the lens. Otherwise, the design is very simple. I mean, it is a wall adapter, so there's not much to really talk about. It does wall adapter things. All of these ports work, but it does have a power limit of up to 1250 watts. Alright, since I'm going to be completely honest, why does it have cat ears? It's completely unnecessary. The exterior plastic is very cheap. I went to wipe away that fingerprint from earlier, and just like that I've already scratched the device. It also seems to be prone to scratching. It's very hard to see, but it doesn't feel very premium. I feel like this is the same type of plastic I've seen used on many other cheap devices. On top of the camera, you have your access door, and this is where your spudger comes in. Oh my goodness. So this gives you access to your SD card slot, which goes up to 256 gigs, and your reset switch. When you power on the camera, the indicator lights will turn on for around a minute. The blue indicator light represents your Wi-Fi, so if it's flashing, that means it's not connected to anything. And if it's solid, that means it's connected. Same thing with the red light, but it's for the SD card. If it's flashing, that means there's a problem with the SD card, and if it's turned on solid, that means there's no problems with the SD card. Now these lights will be on for around a minute, and when they turn off, the camera will automatically start recording. From here, there are two ways to use this camera. You can use this offline mode, where your phone connects to this camera directly, or you can try to connect this camera to the internet, and then you can have live remote viewing anytime. Setting up this device is very simple. First, you connect to the camera's Wi-Fi network, and they do provide you with the password. Then you open the app, and then you connect to your own Wi-Fi network, or the one that you want the camera to use. After that, the camera should be good to go. I'll go over the app details at the end, because 1, most people don't really watch this part, and 2, the app is pretty simple anyways. If you poke around, you'll probably figure out how to change the settings you want. This camera records videos at 1080p 20 frames per second. The video quality is pretty solid overall, considering that it's hidden beneath a layer of plastic. Now, you do notice that the edges are a little bit darker than the actual frame, but otherwise I think it's pretty solid. Now it does have a wide-angle lens, which means that it's more meant for nearer objects than further objects. If you look towards the sign at the back, you can't really tell what it's saying. I'll have to apologize if the sample clips are kinda boring here. You're pretty much locked to any power outlet, so I can't really choose any frames, and I'm not really trying to mess with the legality of this device. From what I can tell, the microphone quality on this device is not very good. Anything further than 10 feet shouldn't be very audible. So obviously the low light performance and the microphone are not very good, but that's to be expected. First, there is a layer covering the lens, so low light performance wouldn't be that great. As for the microphone, it is a tiny and hidden microphone, and of course it's not going to do incredibly amazing or anything like that. While the camera is constantly recording, it only saves the video after 10 minutes, which means that if you pull the camera before 10 minutes is over, you're not going to have any videos on the SD card. Alright, so I've spent some time with this product, and I do think it's pretty solid overall. It's got two main things going for it. One is how well the lens is hidden, It's very well camouflaged. And 2 is the ease of use. The app was very simple to set up, and even for those of you who do not want to use the app, all you need to do is check if the red light is solid, and then you're good to go. So obviously the photo quality, video quality, and audio quality are not perfect, but that was to be expected since you do have to make some concessions when it's in this form factor. If visible, that little speck is the microphone, so you're not gonna get like crystal clear HD audio. It's going to be perfectly okay. It's not great, it's perfectly fine. Unfortunately, I do have some criticisms with the product. So first, just as I feared, the plastic is very cheap. Now, I've used this for maybe a week or two, and look at how scratched the plastic is. I didn't go out of my way to scratch it, I left it in my bag, and I guess like a USB cable ended up scratching and doing all this damage. When you're trying to plug in a USB cable, you're not perfectly doing it every time, so that extra movement causes extra scratching. I fear that you might end up scratching the plastic in front of the lens and ruining your own image quality. Here's a close-up. You can see, yeah, there's definitely a lot of scratches. I'm gonna try to wipe it off. I don't think that's any better. Secondly, the design is just too wacky. It really doesn't need these ears. All they do is draw attention, or these side vents. Did they really have to look like speaker holes though? If you need vents, just make them like slits. Third is that the offline mode seems a little half-baked. It's constantly emitting the Wi-Fi signal, Camduck. If the default name was something other than, Camduck, I think that would be a lot better. Anyone within this product can see that it's constantly emitting the Wi-Fi signal, Camduck, and then anyone who can just Google search what is a Camduck, and they'll be alerted that this product is nearby. Fourth is that it's kind of impractical to use. It needs the entire outlet to be perfectly clear, whether it's just a 2-socket outlet or even a 4-socket outlet, it needs the entire space. It also doesn't fit with all sockets. Some are just wider than this plastic prong to fit in, so that's really annoying. I found it very difficult to find good places to put this thing. I would rather prefer, buying like a USB adapter model. This isn't a camera, by the way. If I were to recommend a Camduck model, I would say go buy a wall adapter or wall brick style model. Those make more sense, and they're probably easier to mount than the Camduck X. Alright, so here's the app's home screen after initial setup. In the top right corner, you can add another camera. The left-hand corner gets you to this nice Camduck logo. It's not really doing anything. You can view your local files. I'm not sure what engineering model does. I'm just gonna leave it off. And you have access to the About section for their website. I'm gonna be honest, this reads like absolute nonsense, but I'm not gonna comment on that. That's their company. So in the home screen, you get a preview for the camera feed, but you can access your settings, like your Wi-Fi, your camera details, network information. You can change the camera's name, set the camera time, look at your SD card, basically the remaining capacity and whether or not you want to format it. The recording status, you can either have loop recording, which means it's going to record all day and it'll automatically loop over the previous video, or you can have motion detection recording. If it notices something walk into the frame, then it will start recording a video. And you can also restore factory settings. Alright, from then on you can look at your SD card files. Now, normal recordings are basically where you have it on loop recording and it'll just automatically start recording when it's powered on. You can look at your local files, so these are the files that are saved to your device. Basically, if you press record on the app, then it will save locally, rather to the SD card. And you can look at news, it's just telling you how their motion detection works. Anyway, you can enter the live preview. If I wave my hand, there you go, I've triggered motion detection. From here, it's the same things. You can take a local photo. This is saved to your device and it's through the internet, so the quality will not be as good as like the raw video from the SD card. You can manually take a video, hello. So again, you have your local files and your SD card files and the news. Now if you click on the actual buttons, you can take a 4 megapixel photo or switch between 1080p and 720p video. You should be able to switch. I don't know why it's not letting me switch anymore. If you use full screen mode on the app, then you just get more settings to mess with. So here you have your quick toggles for reversing and flipping the video. You can adjust your brightness and your contrast. If you made it to the end of the video, I would like to thank you all for watching, and of course I would also like to thank Camduck for sending me this product for review.